Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when we feel divinely connected to someone, so deeply, so powerfully, that their presence seems like an answer to prayer. They arrive with timing too perfect to be coincidental, and their energy resonates with something ancient inside of us. Whether it's love, friendship, mentorship, or even a brief encounter, something about them makes our soul feel known. And just when we begin to believe they were sent to stay, they leave. Not always by choice. Not always with explanation, but they're gone. And we're left holding both the blessing of their impact and the ache of their absence. This is what we call divine separation. It's not abandonment, it's not punishment, it's not failure. Divine separation is part of the sacred design of life, an orchestration we don't always understand in the moment. It's what happens when God allows someone to touch our lives in a profound way and then removes them. Not to harm us, but to grow us. Not to destroy the connection, but to deepen the purpose behind it. The truth is, you met them for a reason, but you also lost them for a reason. Some people are sent into our lives to activate something within us: courage, creativity, healing, conviction. And once that divine purpose is complete, their season ends. It doesn't mean the love wasn't real. It doesn't mean the connection was false. It means their chapter in your story was divinely appointed to begin and divinely timed to close. We often struggle with the loss of someone we thought was permanent because our human heart craves certainty. We want to hold on to what feels good, what brings comfort, what seems right. But divine separation teaches us that growth sometimes requires letting go, that the pain of parting can carry the seeds of our transformation. Think of the people who changed you. A friend who showed up when your world was falling apart. A partner who loved you in a way that taught you your worth. A spiritual guide whose words cut straight through your confusion. Maybe they didn't stay. Maybe they couldn't. But they left you with something eternal. They were sent by God for a holy purpose, whether to guide, to awaken, or to refine. This kind of separation often feels unjust, but in truth it's merciful. Because if they had stayed, the purpose of their presence might have turned into a prison. Sometimes, we cling so tightly to a person that we risk worshipping the vessel instead of the source. Divine separation realigns our focus. It reminds us that the healing didn't come from them. It came through them. God used them as an instrument, but He remains the ultimate composer of your journey. There's a hidden blessing in divine separation. When someone exits your life and you don't understand why, it forces you to go deeper. You question, you grieve. You search for meaning. And in that sacred searching you find God again. You hear Him say, "They were never yours to keep, they were mine. And I gave them to you for a time, for a reason. Now, trust me with their absence as you trusted me with their arrival." The faith is what carries us through the gaps we can't explain. It's what allows us to hold both gratitude and grief in the same breath. You can mourn the loss and still bless the purpose. You can feel the pain and still trust the plan. Divine separation isn't the end of the story. It's the turning point. So if you're standing in the aftermath of a goodbye, feeling confused, broken, or abandoned, know this: you're not alone and you're not forgotten. That person didn't leave your life by chance. Their departure was divinely timed to call forth something deeper within you. Let go, let God, and let the healing begin. Because even in their absence, they fulfilled their purpose. And now it's time for you to fulfill yours. Loss is one of the greatest teachers of the soul. It strips away illusion, ego, and comfort, exposing the deeper truths we often overlook in seasons of joy. When someone significant enters your life and then leaves, whether by death, betrayal, distance, or change, it feels as though the ground has shifted beneath your feet. You ask questions that echo through your heart. Why did I meet them? Why did they have to go? What was the purpose of it all? And while pain might be your first companion, spiritual lessons from loss eventually arrive, quiet but profound. Because every person you meet who touches your heart in a deep, spiritual way, even if only for a season, was sent to you for a reason. You didn't meet them by chance. Their presence was divinely timed, and so too was their absence. Loss teaches you to value presence in a way nothing else can. When someone you love walks away or is taken from you, you learn to cherish the moments you once took for granted. The conversations, the glances, the silence, The laughter, they become sacred in hindsight. In this, you begin to see that love is not about possession, but about presence, about giving and receiving fully in each moment, knowing none of it is guaranteed. Loss teaches surrender. It breaks the illusion of control. You can't hold on to people longer than their season. You can't force hearts to stay that were only meant to pass through. And in this breaking, you begin to understand the deep spiritual truth: everything belongs to God. The people in your life are gifts, not guarantees. They are sent to bless, teach, challenge, or heal. But they are not yours to keep. When you release your grip, you make room for healing and growth to rise. Another lesson that loss teaches is identity beyond attachment. Sometimes we define ourselves through relationships, through who we love, who loves us, who walks beside us. But when they leave, you are faced with the mirror. Who are you without them? This question can be terrifying, but it is also transformative. In the silence that follows loss, you meet yourself again. You discover your strength. You unearth your purpose. You realize that your soul is not empty. It is evolving. Loss also teaches you compassion. Once you've been broken, you can recognize the fractures in others. You no longer judge people by their actions alone. You look for the wounds behind their words, the fears behind their distance. You become gentler, more understanding, more connected to the shared experience of being human. In this way, a pain becomes sacred, because it connects you more deeply to others and to God. Sometimes the greatest spiritual lesson from loss is learning to trust the unknown, to believe that what left you was not the end of love, but a preparation for a deeper kind of love, one rooted in faith, not fear, one that doesn't cling out of need, but welcomes with freedom. When someone leaves and you don't understand why, you are invited into trust, into believing that God sees what you cannot, that their role in your life was fulfilled, and that their absence is making space for your next level of growth. So when you find yourself grieving someone you were never ready to lose, pause and look inward. Ask, what did they teach me? What did I learn about myself, about love, about God? Don't rush past the pain. Sit with it. Let it speak. Because within that pain is a sacred message, one that is shaping your soul for what's ahead. You met them just to lose them. No. You met them so you could become who you were always meant to be. Saying goodbye to someone who meant everything to you can feel like the end of the world. Whether they walked away, drifted apart, or were taken too soon, their absence creates a void that words cannot fill. The silence after they're gone can be deafening. Every corner of your life reminds you of them. Their laughter, their presence, the promises that now echo like unanswered prayers. And still life asks you to continue, to breathe, to rise, to live. This is where the journey of healing after goodbye begins. Not with clarity, but with surrender. You met them for a reason. They came into your life like a divine interruption. Their presence felt like a prayer answered, a miracle unfolding, a love you didn't expect but always needed. For a time, you believed they were your future, your forever, your anchor in the storm. And then they were gone, without warning or with too much pain. The goodbye didn't just break your heart, it shattered your sense of purpose. But healing after goodbye is not about forgetting. It's about remembering with love instead of anguish. It's about carrying their impact without being crushed by their absence. Healing begins when you realize that their role in your life wasn't meaningless just because it ended. Some goodbyes carry the fingerprints of God. Some losses are not setbacks. They are setups for your spiritual transformation. There is power in pain when it's surrendered to divine purpose. The tears you shed are not signs of weakness. They are proof that you have loved deeply. They are proof that your heart is capable of genuine connection. And in that vulnerability you begin to rebuild slowly, quietly, with trembling hands and a resilient spirit. Healing after goodbye doesn't always feel like a miracle. It often feels like a process. One prayer at a time, one breath at a time, one moment of choosing to trust again. Even when trust feels impossible, God doesn't waste our heartbreak. He uses it. He shapes it into wisdom, into compassion, into deeper intimacy with Him. When you lose someone who shaped your world, you're left wondering you are without them. But that question holds a divine answer, because sometimes what feels like loss is really a divine invitation to meet yourself again, to find God again, to learn that healing can come in unexpected ways. Maybe your healing won't be loud. Maybe it will come in quiet revelations, in the peace that shows up in the middle of a sleepless night, in the strength that rises when you speak their name without breaking, in the freedom to love again, not as a replacement, but as a testament to what love taught you. Healing after goodbye is not betrayal to their memory, it is a celebration of it. It is saying, you mattered so much that even in your absence, I choose to live better. Real healing is spiritual. It's not just about moving on, it's about moving through. It's about acknowledging the pain and walking forward with faith that God is still writing your story. That goodbye was not the end. It was a turning point. The ache you feel is holy ground. It means you are alive, growing and being made whole. So don't rush your healing. Let it come as it will, through tears, through prayer, through memories that suddenly feel like lessons. You may have met them just to lose them, but that loss is not in vain. It's part of your becoming. It's part of your calling. Speak this over yourself. I am healing. I am held. I am not alone. Let the goodbye be a beginning. Let it be the soil in which new hope grows. Let it be the reason you choose to rise, to trust, to live fully, knowing that even in the breaking, you are being rebuilt by divine hands. The heartbreak has a way of shaking everything we thought we knew. When someone enters your life so meaningfully, so deeply, it feels like they were written to your story by the hand of God Himself. They arrive like a revelation, bringing joy, healing, purpose, or even a glimpse of the person you were always meant to become. And they're gone. The relationship ends, the bond breaks, the connection dissolves, and you're left staring at the empty space they used to fill, asking the question that echoes through every silent moment. Why would God send them, only to let them leave? That's when faith in heartbreak becomes more than just an idea. It becomes a lifeline. Faith doesn't always answer your questions. It doesn't erase the pain, but it gives you something stronger than understanding. It gives you trust. The kind of trust that whispers, even this is part of the plan. When you're hurting and the person you thought would be by your side is no longer there, faith holds you up. Not because you don't feel the loss, but because you believe there is purpose behind it. Having faith in heartbreak means believing that God sees the bigger picture. You only see the moment, the goodbye, the tears, the shattered expectations. But God sees the full timeline of your life. He knows what that person awakened in you. He knows what their absence will create space for. Faith means trusting that you're not being punished. You're being positioned. Faith also means believing that you are still worthy of love, even after the one you loved is gone. Heartbreak has a way of making you question your value. It whispers lies. You weren't enough, too much. You'll never find this again. But faith answers back with truth. You are enough. You are chosen. And what was taken will be restored in divine time. When you walk through heartbreak with faith, you begin to see loss as sacred. You realize that the love you experienced was not wasted, even if it didn't last. The relationship may have ended, but the growth it sparked in you is eternal. The way it showed you what you're capable of feeling, the way it pushed you closer to your purpose. That doesn't disappear when they do. Faith in heartbreak is also about surrender. It's about saying, God, I don't understand this, but I trust you. It's choosing to worship through the pain. It's choosing to believe that something beautiful is still possible, even when your heart is breaking. It's choosing to keep your heart open, even when it would be easier to shut it down. There is a kind of healing that only comes when you allow God into your brokenness. When you stop pretending everything is okay and start inviting Him into the raw, aching places, that's where true transformation happens. Not in avoiding the heartbreak, but in letting it teach you how to love deeper, to trust stronger, and to hope again. So if you've met someone, only to lose them, and your heart feels like it's been torn in two, know this: your faith is not misplaced. Your pain is not ignored. Your story is not over. A God is still at work in the silence, in the confusion, and in the healing that is already on its way. You may have met them just to lose them, but you did not lose yourself, and you have not lost God. He is the one who walks with you through the valley. He is the one who binds the wounds. He is the one who brings beauty from ashes. Hold on. Keep believing. Let your heartbreak be the ground where faith grows roots. Because even in your deepest sorrow, you are being shaped for something greater than you can see. Every person who crosses your path carries a purpose, a reason woven into the fabric of your life story. When you meet someone and the connection feels profound, it's tempting to believe they were meant to stay forever. But sometimes their time with you is brief, intense, meaningful, and then gone. You may wonder why you met them just to lose them, to have their presence vanish like a fleeting dream. Yet, these encounters are not random. They are purposeful relationships designed by a higher intelligence to serve your growth, healing, and transformation. Purposeful relationships are those divine intersections where souls meet for a sacred exchange. They teach us lessons we might never have learned otherwise. They awaken parts of us that were dormant, challenge our beliefs, and invite us to step into deeper versions of ourselves. Even if the relationship ends, the impact remains, like ripples spreading across the water long after the stone has sunk. Sometimes the person you meet is a mirror reflecting your strengths and weaknesses. They show you your capacity for love, patience, forgiveness, or courage. They reveal wounds that need healing or patterns that require breaking. Their presence may have been temporary, but the spiritual work they ignite within you is permanent. Losing them can feel like a heartbreak, but it also signals that their role in your life, though crucial, is complete. In these purposeful relationships, there is a divine timing that is often beyond human understanding. Someone may enter your life at just the right moment to pull you out of darkness, to ignite hope, or to remind you of your worth. And when their season ends, it's because you're ready to move forward without them, equipped with the wisdom and strength they helped you cultivate. The pain of losing such relationships can be overwhelming. But faith teaches us that these separations are not punishments or mistakes. They are part of a divine curriculum designed for your soul's evolution. When you trust this truth, you start to see endings not as losses, but as transitions. You learn to honor what was given and release what no longer serves your highest good. Purposeful relationships also prepare you for future blessings. They clear space for new connections that align more closely with your evolving journey. They refine your understanding of love, trust, and commitment. They teach you resilience, enabling you to face life's uncertainties with greater peace and confidence. The challenge is to embrace the transient nature of some relationships without losing faith in love itself. To believe that meeting someone, even briefly, can be a sacred gift. To understand that losing them does not diminish the value of what was shared. And to recognize that every relationship, whether it lasts a moment or a lifetime, contributes to the unfolding of your destiny. So when you feel the sting of a purposeful relationship ending, remember this. You met them just to lose them because their mission was to change you. Their presence was a divine blessing, and their departure is part of the path leading you to the fullness of who you are meant to be. Keep your heart open and your spirit ready. The relationships that come and go are sacred threads in the tapestry of your life, each one woven with intention, love, and divine purpose. When someone enters your life and then leaves, especially someone you deeply cared for, it can feel like your world has been shaken to its core. The heartbreak, the confusion, the sense of loss, these emotions hit hard and fast. Yet within this pain lies the opportunity to develop one of the most powerful qualities you can possess: emotional resilience. This resilience is the inner strength that enables you to endure hardship, to recover from heartbreak, and to grow through adversity. It's the quiet power that whispers to you in your darkest moments, "You will rise again." Emotional resilience is not about avoiding pain or pretending everything is okay. It's about facing your emotions fully and learning to move forward anyway. When you meet someone only to lose them, your heart is tested. You might feel betrayed by fate, abandoned by love, or overwhelmed by grief. But each of these feelings is part of a larger process that builds your capacity to withstand life's inevitable storms. The journey of emotional resilience begins with acceptance. Accepting that sometimes people come into your life for a season, not a lifetime. Accepting that loss is a natural part of the human experience, and that it does not define your worth or your future. This acceptance doesn't happen overnight. It takes courage to let go of expectations and embrace reality, even when it hurts. Building emotional resilience also involves cultivating faith. Faith in yourself, in God, and in the unseen plan that is working for your good. Faith gives you hope when all seems lost. It allows you to believe that this heartbreak is not the end of your story, but a turning point in your journey. With faith, you find the strength to wake up each day, to keep moving forward, and to trust that healing is coming. Another vital part of emotional resilience is learning to draw wisdom from your pain. When you reflect on the loss, you begin to see lessons hidden in the sorrow. You understand more about your needs, boundaries, and desires. You become more aware of what truly matters. Pain becomes a teacher, guiding you toward greater self-awareness and deeper compassion, not only for yourself but for others who suffer as well. Real emotional resilience is also about embracing vulnerability. It's okay to grieve, to cry, to feel broken. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is the gateway to healing. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you open the door to genuine connection. With yourself, with God, and with others who can support you. It is through this openness that strength grows and the wounds of loss begin to mend. Resilience does not mean you will never be hurt again. It means you will face heartbreak with a heart that has been strengthened, a spirit that refuses to be defeated, and a faith that anchors you in hope. It means you recognize that meeting someone just to lose them was not a failure, but a sacred part of your growth, a divine lesson in trust, endurance, and love. So when you feel the sting of goodbye, remember that your pain is molding you into a stronger version of yourself. You are learning to bend without breaking, to heal without forgetting, and to love without losing hope. Your heart will beat again with courage and joy, shaped by the very losses you once thought would destroy it. You met them just to lose them, yes, but you also met yourself in that loss, and discovered the resilience that will carry you forward to brighter days. When you meet someone who profoundly impacts your life, only to lose them later, it can feel like a cruel twist of fate. Questions flood your mind. Why now? Why them? Why couldn't it have lasted? Yet within these moments of confusion and pain lies a profound truth about God's timing in relationships. It is a truth that challenges human understanding and invites you to trust beyond what your eyes can see or your heart can grasp. God's timing is perfect even when it doesn't align with our desires. When two souls cross paths, it is never by accident or coincidence. There is divine orchestration behind every meeting, every connection, and every goodbye. Each encounter happens exactly when it should, not too early, not too late. Sometimes, you meet someone to teach you something essential, about love, forgiveness, strength, or yourself. Other times, they are a catalyst, helping you shed old wounds and prepare for what lies ahead. And sometimes, their role is brief but vital, like a spark that ignites a flame within you. Even if their presence fades, the challenge lies in trusting this divine timing, especially when loss feels unbearable. It's natural to want answers or a clear roadmap. But faith calls you to surrender control and believe that there is a greater plan at work. The person you met just to lose them was placed in your life according to this plan. One that is far wiser and more compassionate than any human design. The trusting God's timing means embracing uncertainty and allowing grace to lead you through the pain. It means knowing that every relationship has a season and a purpose, even if that season ends sooner than you hoped. Sometimes the timing of loss is itself a blessing, protecting you from something not meant for your journey, or preparing for a future relationship aligned with your highest good. This divine timetable also teaches patience. In a world obsessed with immediacy, waiting can feel like suffering. But waiting on God's timing is an act of faith, a declaration that you believe what is meant for you will not pass you by. It is in the waiting that character is built, resilience is strengthened, and hope is renewed. Consider the story of the seasons. Just as winter must come before spring, and night must give way to dawn, relationships have their own rhythms. Some are brief and intense, like a sudden storm. Others are long and steady, like the sun's warm embrace. Each season serves its purpose, and when a relationship ends, it often signals a shift, a turning point toward new growth, healing, or opportunity. So when you feel the sting of losing someone you thought would stay, remind yourself that God's timing is at work. You met them just to lose them because their role in your life was perfectly timed to awaken something within you. Strength, faith, wisdom, or healing. Their departure is not a rejection, but a redirection toward what is truly meant for you. Keep your heart open to the lessons and blessings hidden in each encounter. A trust that in God's perfect timing, every meeting and every goodbye carries divine significance. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it should, even when you cannot yet see the whole picture. Hold on to faith, knowing that the right people will come at the right time, and the ones who leave did so to make space for the blessings still to come. You are never alone, and your story is being written by a loving hand that never misses a detail. Letting go with grace is one of the most challenging yet liberating acts we can undertake, especially when it comes to relationships that touched our hearts deeply but were not meant to last. When you meet someone who changes your world, only to lose them, your soul aches for answers and closure. The natural impulse is to hold on tightly, clinging to memories, to hope, to the possibility of what could have been. But true healing and growth come not from holding on, but from the gentle, courageous act of releasing with grace. The grace in letting go is not about forgetting or minimizing what the relationship meant. It's about honoring the beauty of what was shared, while acknowledging that its time has passed. It is recognizing that some people go into our lives to teach us, to uplift us, or to prepare us for something greater. And when their purpose is fulfilled, holding on only causes more pain. Letting go with grace means accepting that sometimes love means setting someone free, even if it breaks your heart. When you let go with grace, you create space for healing. Holding on tightly to loss can trap you in a cycle of pain, regret, and bitterness. But releasing with grace opens the door to peace, allowing your heart to mend and your spirit to breathe again. It is a declaration that you trust the divine timing and the greater plan for your life. Even when it's difficult to understand, letting go gracefully also requires compassion toward yourself and toward the other person. It means forgiving the imperfections, the mistakes, and the unmet expectations. It means recognizing that everyone involved did the best they could in their season. Compassion softens the sharp edges of grief and helps transform sorrow into wisdom. This act of graceful release is also an act of faith. It's a spiritual surrender that says, I don't have all the answers, but I trust that what is meant for me will come. When you let go with grace, you step out of the role of controller and into the role of a co-creator with God, allowing divine healing to flow into the wounds left behind. Real life stories of letting go with grace inspire us. Consider the countless people who have loved deeply and lost profoundly but chose not to close their hearts. Instead, they embraced the loss as part of their journey and allowed it to fuel their growth. They learned that love is not possession, it is freedom. That sometimes the greatest act of love is to release, trusting that what is truly meant for you will never pass you by. Letting go with grace also invites resilience. It teaches you that your worth is not defined by who stays or leaves. It reminds you that your capacity to love and to heal is infinite. Every goodbye becomes a step towards self-discovery and spiritual maturity. So if you find yourself holding on to someone you met just to lose, pause and breathe. Choose grace over grasping. Choose peace over pain. Let go not because you have given up, but because you are brave enough to trust the journey ahead. Let go with gratitude for the lessons learned and with hope for the blessings yet to come. In this surrender, you will find freedom. You will find healing. You will find the strength to love again. Not just others, but yourself.